Hello, and welcome to Respect Your Elders. This is the first episode in the series, so... Woohoo! Anyways, this show was geared towards an audience that not so much people who like retro video games. I mean, if you want to, that's cool, and just want to hear my opinion, that's alright. But this wasn't really meant for you. It was more meant for people who are new to video games, you know, like all the guys are all jacked up on Call of Duty and you can't get anything but Mountain Dew and double experience. Yeah, that's not me. Anyways, I'm here to tell you about all the classic games. And with that, today we're going to talk about one of my favorite games, and apparently everyone else's, Super Mario World. So with that, how about we get into it?
Let's go back to the year 1989. The TurboGrafx-16, or PC engine, in Japan is released in America and is considered to be the first 16-bit console. A few weeks later, Sega releases the Sega Genesis, which is considered to be the true 16-bit console between the two. And where was Nintendo in all this? Well, they still had the good old NES. But the fact was that Nintendo's NES was 8-bit, and the Genesis was 16-bit. Nintendo had to do something. But that something would have to wait for a couple of years. So a couple of years came, and you know what they brought? The Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo launched in America on August 23rd, 1991. This is known to be the superior system compared to the other two, but the debate has raged on which system is better, the Super Nintendo or the Genesis. The TurboGrafx kind of fell behind the other two, but that's for another episode. The SNES launched with 5 titles: F-Zero, Pilot Wings, Gradius 3, SimCity, and finally, Super Mario World. All of these are great games in their own respects, but I'll have to talk about them at another time. Super Mario World came packaged with every Super Nintendo at launch. The game was critically and commercially selling over 20 million copies worldwide. It was an instant success. The game itself took 3 years to develop with a team of 16 people headed by God among men Shigeru Miyamoto. Miyamoto stated himself that he felt the game was incomplete and rushed, but even so, the game would go on to be a worldwide success. Super Mario World is everything you'd expect out of a Mario game and more. You thought Super Mario Bros. 3 was amazing? You haven't seen anything yet. When this game was released, it made gamers want to blow their load. Yeah, really. This game is all about control. The controls are perfectly tuned, so if you die, it's your fault. The enemies are all unique and crazy, and the stages and backgrounds are beautiful. And Yoshi was introduced to the series. Originally, this dino was on the drawing board since the first Mario Bros. Game, but because of limitations of the NES, the green dino was scrapped. Overall, to sum up this game, it's bigger, it's better, and it's everything the fans wanted. The game is filled with 8 worlds, not to mention the secret world filled with the special stages. This game is filled to the brim with secrets. Not as much as maybe Super Mario Bros. 3, but it's bound to keep your brain puzzled for more than a few months. Like any other Mario game, it has 2-player option. You can play cooperatively throughout the worlds, but it's most likely that you're going to want to spawn a rivalry if you're playing with a friend. Back in the day, me and my cousin would get into it so much that we would count how many levels we had beaten on a sheet of paper, and whoever lost would have to sleep outside for the night. Yeah, it was pretty intense. Of course, that would bring us to the difficulty. This game is pretty easy for the most part, with a few stumps kicked in. I could beat this game in about one sitting if I had all day to do it. That is, without taking a huge shortcut to Bowser's Castle. If I did that, it'd probably take like 30 minutes, but you would miss out on such a great experience. But you want to know the best part of the game? The fucking music! The music in this game is certified to give you an instant eargasm. You will be humming the tunes from this game until the end of time. And who can we thank for this beautifully composed masterpiece? Koji Kondo. His previous work consists of all the past Mario Bros. Games, and future works such as The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, which is known for its catchy music, if I may add. And would you believe that he made all the music just using an electric keyboard? I mean, just listen to this. Now, if it doesn't feel like a rainbow is being crapped into your ear, then I don't know what to think of you. I have the entire original soundtrack on my iPod, but you don't have to settle for that. There are plenty of remakes and remixes out there. All you have to do is look. Now, you could go out and buy a Super Nintendo and Super Mario cartridge, which would be a little bit more expensive, but you do have other options. It was released on the Virtual Console some time ago for the Nintendo Wii, which will run you about 800 Wii points, or $8. It was also re-released on the Game Boy Advance in the form of Super Mario Advance 2. There are also other means of playing the game, but it's a little sketchy if you ask me. Emulation. I don't recommend it, but if you're dying to play it and you don't want to put up the cash, then it's your decision, but I would highly urge you to buy the original cartridge. It's very authentic, and if you're into collecting, that is. Anyways, the cartridge is dirt cheap, so you really don't have much of an excuse unless you don't own a Super Nintendo. If that's the case, then I'd go with a Virtual Console. This is Sam from Other Side Gaming, and happy gaming, everyone. And if you haven't thought about your ancestors lately, think again.